In a peaceful African village arrived a young white man named Johnny. Johnny was a volunteer teacher from somewhere far, far away, and he had come to the village to teach English. He had bright blue eyes, blonde hair, and a white, charming smile that seemed to hypnotize the villagers, especially the ladies. Now, Johnny was polite, friendly, and very well-meaning, but there was one thing about him the villagers hadn't anticipated. Johnny was, well, let's just say, quite popular with the women. He had no idea how it happened, but the village ladies were absolutely taken with him. Maybe it was his unusual accent, his strange dance moves, which always looked like he was chasing away invisible mosquitoes, or that he had brought soap that smelled like flowers. Whatever it was, the ladies just couldn't get enough of Johnny. Johnny would spend his days teaching children how to say apple and banana, but after school, it was a different story. The women would invite him to dinner, offer him gifts of fruit, and sometimes just stand outside his house waving for no apparent reason. They called him Mr. Sweetface in hushed giggles. Johnny, clueless as he was, thought they were just being friendly. After all, who doesn't like a nice foreigner? Months went by, and life was going well for Johnny, until one day, the village chief summoned him for a serious discussion. Johnny thought maybe he'd get an award for being a great teacher or perhaps a nice roast goat for his efforts. The chief sat Johnny down, cleared his throat, and said, "Johnny, we have a small problem." Johnny, ever optimistic, smiled and said, "Oh, chief, what's the problem? Can I help?" The chief gave him a long look, then said, "Well, it seems, how do I put this? You've managed to get 20 women in the village pregnant." Johnny blinked, his smile faltering. "Wait, what?" The chief sighed. "Yes, Johnny. 20. Not 5, not 10, 20. Johnny was dumbfounded. He could barely teach a class of 30 kids, let alone handle, well, this. "But how?" "I was just being nice." The chief gave him a knowing look. "Johnny, my friend, here in our village, when a woman offers you a special meal and you enjoy the meal more than once, it's not just dinner. It's an invitation. And you, my friend, have accepted many invitations." Johnny felt his face turn as white as his skin. "I didn't mean to. I didn't know." The chief chuckled. "Yes, I'm sure you didn't. But the result is the same. Now, we have 20 ladies who will soon have your babies. And, according to village tradition, you have to take responsibility." Johnny gulped. What does that mean?" The chief grinned, clearly enjoying this. "It means, my dear friend, you are now the father of 20 children, and 20 wives." Johnny nearly fainted. "Wives?" The chief nodded, slapping him on the back. "You have done what no man in this village has ever done. You will be honored forever, but you will also be very, very busy." News of Johnny's unexpected fatherhood spread like wildfire, and soon the whole village was talking about the white man with 20 wives. Every time Johnny walked through the village, people would call out, "Father Johnny," or "Mr. Many Wives." The men slapped him on the back in admiration, and the women waved at him with wings that made Johnny even more nervous. Months passed, and one by one, Johnny's 20 children were born. He spent his days teaching in the classroom and his evenings visiting his many wives and children, trying to keep track of who was who. He became a legend, not for his teaching, but for his, well, fertility. Years later, when Johnny returned to his homeland, he left behind 20 wives, 20 children, and a story that would be told for generations. The villagers would say, "Remember Johnny? The man who thought he was just having dinner but ended up with a village of kids." And so, Johnny's story became a lesson for any outsider coming to the village. Be careful when you accept an invitation for dinner. You might just leave with a whole family. Moral of the story: always know the customs before you eat someone's food, or you might end up with more than you bargained for.